without further ado, let's get started. So, intro to options. Um, so, the way that I like to teach what an option is to someone who may not know what it is think of it as just a simple piece of paper. It's a contract, just like you would write on a piece of paper, for the right to 100 shares per contract. So, if you buy 10 contracts, you have the right to buy 1,000 shares. You're not actually buying 1,000 shares. You're simply buying the contract to buy the shares. Same with the house. If you um, bought the contract to end up buying the house, you haven't actually bought it, but you have the right to it, or right to land, or whatever it is. So obviously there's puts and calls, right? Calls, you want the stock to go up. Puts, you want the stock to go down. Like I said earlier, you guys have gone over the spreads and all that, and how you can use puts and calls against and with each other to capture premium. But I'm not going to be going into that tonight. So, like I said, it's simply buying a contract to the right to 100 shares at a very discounted price. Today, I bought a Netflix 465 call. And Netflix is $467 right now for one share. I bought one contract for, I think one of my fills was like 230, 215. So I spent $215, let's say, for the right to 100 shares. Well, 100 shares is $46,000 worth of stock. So that's, it's a very, very different amount of money. But if I bought 100 shares and Netflix went up $1, I then only make $100 on $46,000. So your return is very small, but that also means that your risk is very small. So that's kind of where options come into play. And you could look at them as riskier. And of course, when you have bigger percentages, things are riskier, right? So I think the trade this morning was like 30 or 40%. It was pretty crazy. Contracts hit about $4 a pop at peak, so $400. So honestly, almost 100%. So that's just really, really crazy. But you need to just think of options as leverage. If you have the money, if you have a multi-million-dollar account where you could be buying thousands of shares at a time, and you can capture a $1, $2, $3 move, great. You can make a couple $1,000. You can actually make some real money trading. And your risk is very small. You're only risking a very, very small fraction of your account per trade. For options, though, for people that don't have the capital, that's kind of where you lean to. And that's where, me personally, that's where I started. I didn't have $1 million. I didn't have 20 grand. I didn't even have 10 grand when I started. And so I had to use options to leverage my money to try to actually, pick up, a couple nickels and dimes here and there, and, make my $50 or $100 a day, and start growing that account. And then you can kind of hit that exponential growth, which is really nice. But to get into options trading, especially weekly options trading, where they're expiring the same week, you have to have an insane level of discipline. And for most new traders, they're kind of forced to the option side of things, which is, good and bad. But like I said, they're kind of forced that way because they actually can't really make a significant amount of money, or, even enough money to, consider it a side hustle, if you don't have that capital to trade shares. So, the reason I use options is because, like I said, I don't have $1 million account, but I actually want to end up making money. And this is my job. This is how I make money. And I've done it for a while. And of course, the beginning is hard because, especially me being a younger kid when I started, you're not used to playing around with this kind of money, and also seeing how quickly your money can fluctuate when you're in a trade. Like I said today, I mean, I made close to maybe 100% on that trade. Um, that could also lead to 100% loss if you're not careful, and that's where you can blow accounts. You can really, really get into some trouble if you're not at a very high level of discipline. So there's good and bad to that, right? If you don't have the discipline, you're going to run into some problems, and everyone does in the beginning. Trust me, it's every single trader has a very rough time in the beginning, and it is what it is. The saying is you pay your tuition to the market when you first start, regardless if it's options or equities or whatever. Everyone wants to try to get rich and make some money. If you're coming into the trading side of things, if you're looking to more long-term invest, then you may just, kind of instantly have some success if you're looking for a 5 to 10 year kind of window. And specifically for what I do, it's even more hectic because it's very short-term trading. You're very leveraged, and you're trading momentum-based stuff. So you're right in the heart of the volatility that's going on. And over time, when you really can find your edge, you can really find success with it. For me, and you guys know that, listen to me live trade every day. I look for one very high probable setup, maybe two a day, and I like to take my money and run. I don't really swing hardly ever. I don't look for huge moves. I don't hold for multiple hours or multiple days at a time. I'm looking for a 5 to 10 minute move. Ideally, there are times, obviously, when things go a little bit longer than that. But it gives you the freedom to, trade the upside and the downside. The con of shorting with equities, like actually shorting shares, is your risk is unlimited, because a stock can only go to zero, but a stock can go as high as it wants. When you're shorting, you have unlimited risk on the line and a fixed amount of profit, and vice versa for the upside. You have unlimited profit on the upside and only fixed amount to the downside. So that's kind of where I like options, is because you're going long, meaning you're buying a put or buying a call on either side, and you can make money regardless of which way the stock goes, if you're betting on the right side. So, options are great. Obviously, like you guys went over this week, you went over the Greeks and how time decay plays into options, right? Theta. You have delta, which is how much the option is going to change per dollar the stock moves and all of that. So I hope you guys learned some stuff there. But like I said, for me, it's very short term, very quick trades. But I use options to actually capitalize on these very small moves and actually can make an income doing this. If I didn't have options, I would need a much, much bigger book, meaning I need more money, more capital to actually make a living. I like trading this way because I don't need to be right about the entire day. I need to be right about 5 to 10 minutes of my trade. Get in, get out, leave. That's it. So, like I said, you guys learned about Greeks and stuff. A lot of the time, I don't have to worry about that stuff because I'm in for such a short amount of time. It's good to know that in case you want to swing or look to hold for a couple hours or whatever, or, calculate what kind of profit. So if there's any questions, you guys feel free to ask. But I think you guys, at least that are here, you understand that. Yeah, so I went over, how options are basically a contract. It's think about it as a piece of paper to the right to shares, and it's simply a way of leveraging. In crypto, you can leverage 10 times your money, 50 times your money, 100 times your money. Options don't have that much leverage, but it's for what we do. It's really, really nice to be able to not use as much capital and end up making enough money than you could if you had, a $1 million account or whatever. I've traded on firms like, a lot of you guys know that are here. I've traded $1 million account, real money, and it's very different. And for me, and I went over this the other day, from being so used to trading short-term volatility and being so emotionally used to how quickly options move percentage-wise, hopping onto an equities account and seeing the very, very small percent move of those positions, it was so slow to me. But that's a good, right? A lot of people, even they've never short-term traded options, and they're a little bit more emotionally invested into it. But for me, it was a lot slower. So yes, there's cons to this very short-term, high leverage trading. Um, and there's also, pros to it. If you can get used to it, then basically every other style of trading is extremely slow and you're emotionally sound to it. How does that work with crypto leveraging, as they don't quite have options? So it's probably more of a question for Jay, but the way that I would explain it is, and they give you the opportunity to 100 times leverage your money. So I don't know, what would that be? $1 million? Let's just say they let you 50 times your money, or even 10 times your money. Let's say you had $10,000 and you were able to trade it with 100,000. What that means is, if I get into a position with 10 grand and I have a stop loss of 5,000, so a 50% stop loss, but I'm leveraged up 100 times. Well, my stop loss then gets cut by 100 times. So it 99% of that stop, I would think, my math may be wrong here, but it basically means your stop is extremely tight. And yes, of course, you have the ability to make a ton of money if it instantly goes in your favor. But if you're really highly leveraged up, like I said, your stop is very tight. So you get like one tick down in your direction, or maybe just whatever it may be, your stop is so tight, you'll get liquidated like in an instant. So that's where the risk comes into play. The percentages are going to be way higher. Yeah, you can make 100 times your money on the same move that if you were just normal leverage, right? Just one time, or 1x, I guess I should say. So it's just an artificial way to leverage, but every crypto guy who wants to get in there and make $1 million, they go in with $100. Okay, I'm gonna 100x. I'm gonna put on 100 times leverage. I'm trading with 10 grand now. Great, I'm so cool. And you get one small move, one little red candle, and your stop's so tight, boom, liquidated. So that's how these brokers end up making money. Yeah, there's that one weird time, and you see this one dude on Twitter who said, "Oh, I turned $100 into 10 grand trading this." Well, of course, there's going to be that one kind of lottery ticket winner, but the leverage side of things and the crypto side is a lot messier than it is with options. You can't really leverage up options any more than they already are. So, how do you determine the number of days on an expected move? Maestro. I don't 100% know exactly what you're asking, but that seems a little bit more of like a swing trader perspective, I would say. For me, I don't care about expected moves. I'm looking for a very small 5 to 10 minute move in the day, within one day. How do you determine the number of days on an expected move? The market is an insane place. It never makes sense. There's never a perfect ratio. There's never a it's not a puzzle that you can just put together and there's a perfect routine. There's never perfect mechanics in it. It's forever changing. If I pull up SPY here, if you told me, okay, SPY is going to move straight up the next 2 weeks from, we're going to be at 450 in 2 weeks from 410, I would have told you you're crazy. I would have thought the expected move would be to, maybe 430. And now we're up another 20 points. So, maybe if you want to clarify that question, I'd be more than happy to go more in depth in that. But I don't 100% understand it. I know that was kind of brief on the option side, but that was basically, the basics of it. It's just leverage. You guys already went over Greeks this week. You already went over spreads. I can go over. Let me just pull up an option chain for you guys. Maybe that'll be good. I guess it's more of a prediction thing, so it's very speculative. Yeah, I mean, everything in this is 100% speculative. I can't guarantee you that, okay, if Netflix goes here, that the contract should do this. But with my experience trading these same stocks, I know roughly how the contracts move per stock. Netflix, the contract's going to move a lot more volatile. They're going to be the percentage gain is going to be a lot more. So I'm going to go in with less money, knowing that there's more risk on the line, but there's also a lot bigger reward. So on a typical stock, like I trade Tesla a lot, maybe I go in with, for example, $5,000, and I look to make 500 or whatever. For Netflix, I could go in with 2,000 and still expect to make about 5,000, or sorry, still expect to make about 500. But I also know that I can also lose 500 just as easy. But I don't need to go in with 5,000, just because I want to keep that profit and loss, roughly the same as what I'm used to, so I know that I can still make that logical decision when things get a little hectic, and I don't, I'm not in with too much. Stock goes against me. I'm too emotionally invested in it. Oh, I can't lose this much. It keeps going against me, and you take a massive loss for no reason. It's all speculative for sure, but over time, you're gonna understand the personalities of these stocks. If you want to trade roughly the same way as I do, um, and you'll just understand how they move. There's guys that scan for stocks and they've never traded at one time before, but they're simply using, either math or just straight technicals, and maybe they trade equities or whatever. Options, it definitely adds a little bit more of a challenge in there, because equities, like I said, it's linear. If a stock goes up $1, you make $1 per share. On options, you may make $50 for $1 move, but if the trade takes 2 hours, maybe you only make $30 the next dollar, or maybe you lose a little bit more. So it's just there's a lot more that goes into options, that cause it to be a little bit more challenging. That's why I like to be in and out. I don't like to mess with longer time frames. So you got lucky on CPI. So I'm guessing what you swung calls, Maestro. I tried to attend the OTC Thursday stream. It's basically crypto, and it's very, very interesting. At TTOO, and it was like 4,000% profit. How much is this over here? Yeah. So I mean, is TTOO a crypto, or is it a penny stock, Stickman? I think I got lucky on CPI this week. Penny stock. Let me just check it out real quick. Penny stocks are crazy. Yeah, and it's basically crypto. You're going to be looking for those multi-100% moves. And there's nothing wrong with that, because, like I said, a stock can only go to zero if you're long, right? It can go up as high as it wants. So, I mean, I know that I've seen plenty of guys on Twitter kind of do this kind of strategy. They go in with a very small amount of their account, whether it's 1%, and they're like, okay, I'll risk 100% of this. I don't care if I lose every single penny of my position, but I'm looking for 2, 3, 4, 5, 600%, 1,000%, 2,000%. So the risk reward is there. To me, that feels a little bit more like gambling. You're looking to hit blackjack kind of thing. But it does work for some people, because if you make 2,000%, you're risking 100%. All you have to do is win 1 out of 20 times to break even, I see that reverse split here. 99% split. That's pretty crazy. Maestro, so you swung a SPY call. Yeah, so for something like CPI, what I like to do is I'll go on Twitter, and you can look up, like, whether it's JP Morgan or Goldman Sachs. It's usually those two. They will kind of give a prediction like, okay, if CPI comes in at this percent, we expect a 0.5% move in SPY, either up or down. If it comes in at this percent, we expect a 1% move. Or if it comes out really unexpected at this percent, whether it's good, we would think it'd go up 2%. Or if it was, this unexpectedly bad, it'd go down 2% or whatever. So you can find that stuff on Twitter, and that may kind of answer your more expected move kind of thing. For earnings, there also are expected moves, like, okay, and that kind of comes into looking at where the options are. But a lot of math goes into that. So I would go honestly, Twitter's a great place. You can look up, okay, like what is Tesla's expected move for the, what was their earnings? Their October Q3 or Q2 earnings results. Like, what's the expected move? And it may be like 5% or 2% or 10% or whatever. So that may be cool. And then, okay, so let's say that Tesla is $200, and if they beat earnings, they're expecting a 10% move. Okay, so okay, if stock's at 200, they think it can go up 10%. That's at 220. So maybe I buy the 220 call before earnings, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's mostly gambling for sure, Stickman. And I hate to say that because everyone kind of has this skewed view on the market. There's always that statistic that 99% of traders lose, and I don't disagree with that. But my argument is, well, 100% of people can open an account and put money in, right? Everybody can open the account, throw a grand in, lose it, and they're considered a loser. And the stock market's gambling. It's, you can't make money at it. But I've been around people who've done it for 40 years, 40, 50 years, made hundreds of millions of dollars. It all, and even me, for example, right? I mean, I'm still pretty young. I mean, don't take this the wrong way. Of course, I've made multiple mistakes when I was starting out for the first 2, 3 years. But year into year 3, year 4, year 5, things really pick up. And then I like to say it's like learning a language. Once you understand it, you know what you're good at, you stick to it, you're disciplined, you have your framework down. It becomes boring, but it's very systematic. And then the numbers don't lie. You make money. Yes, of course, maybe there's a month or even a year that you don't, but that's the risk of playing in this game. People do make money. People can, and there are people that do make a living from day trading. Yeah, Stickman. I don't sports bet. I'm a college kid. Everyone and their friend, right? Everyone freaking does their parlays and sports bets. I will never touch that stuff. From being a trader, and literally every single day is about probabilities and about picking the best probability thing that I could find for the day, and then seeing them betting on how a person's going to play in a freaking football game. It blows my mind. I never go to casinos. I don't do any of that. Maybe people have their different opinion on my opinion, but right, yeah, Stickman, 100%. Anyone can go buy a lottery ticket. Not everyone's going to win. 99.99999% of people are going to lose, right? But you put in the work and you figure out your edge, and you put those countless hours in, all the time studying. I've had some pictures come up recently from 2019, and it's like me and my back home at my small little desk with my laptop, and it's like 2:30 in the morning, and it's me like studying charts, like a weirdo when I'm like 15 and 15, 16, whatever I was. And I put like, you need to remember this in a year, and now we're 4 years down the line. So that's kind of cool to see. And I also have these old notes on my phone. Like, I was scanning for penny stocks, all this stuff. So it's a complete progression from where you start and where you end. But it's very good to journal stuff down like that, to look at it after a couple years, see how far you've come. Maybe you're in a rough patch this year, but you look back on where you were at this time last year, and you're way ahead of where you thought you'd be. And that's, it's a good confidence booster for sure. It helps you keep moving forward. And, you've heard me say it before. If you want to be a doctor, it takes 8 years, right? What makes you think you're going to be a professional, profitable trader after a couple months, or even 1 year, even 2? To even get considered to get paid off on commissions, meaning on what you make at the trading firm that I worked at, you have to be there for 4 years on a very small salary with a bonus for Christmas. I don't think they're going to do that to me just because I've gone there a couple summers now in a row, but who knows? Maybe they will. If I end up doing that, who knows? I may keep working for myself. So yeah, Maestro. So if you're okay with going more in depth into that, I'm more than happy to sit here and help you. It may be good for other people as well. Um, my advice is it's definitely going to take a long time. I don't mean 10 years, I don't mean 5 years, but getting out all your mistakes and all the kind of kinks in your trading, it's going to take a lot of time. And I don't know that I recognize you from the live tradings in the morning, but I think that maybe Stickman can vouch for me here. I try to keep everyone as patient as possible, and listening to live trading will help you definitely slow down. And yeah, I get it, man. You got kids. It's and right now I can't make that connection with my life right now, but I can only imagine the distractions. I mean, I'm sure maybe whether it's taking them to school or whatever it may be. um I hear you, but over time, I don't know how long you've been doing this, but I think if you can try to, I mean, I don't know if you have an office or have anywhere you can go by yourself, but I think a big thing is just trying to play the long game. Try to be green this month. Don't think so much about being green today. Don't think so much about being green this week. Things are so much easier and so much more enjoyable when you know what you're looking for, and you're not going to do a thing until all of your criteria is met, and then you take the trade. If all but one of your criteria is met, you still don't take the trade. Everything has to go to plan. If the stock does this and this, I'm going to do this and this. If it doesn't do that, I'm not going to do anything. But if it does this and this, then okay, then maybe I'll change my plan and I'll do something like this kind of thing. And I mean, even yeah, rags to riches for sure. Maestro, I would definitely check that out. It's really good. It's a lot slower. I don't know if you have the time to like actively trade every morning or not. I don't know your schedule. I know now that you have kids and stuff, so I'm sure your mornings are hectic. Um, Onward, yeah. Your kids are older than me. That's pretty funny. But yeah. Again, all of this stuff is comes down to screen time and experience. Yeah, it's like I'm saying, it comes down to experience. It comes down to just having time in the market, realizing there's always tomorrow, there's always another trade, there's always another setup, there's always another market cycle in a couple years from now. There's always another market crash. There's always going to be another bull run. One trade isn't going to make or break you unless you let it break you. So your whole job is not so much to know how to win. Your whole job is to know how to lose good. And once you can have a very rigid system on how you lose, how much you're willing to lose, um, then trading becomes a lot easier because you have a winning system. You have mentors that have winning systems. You have opportunity to make money. As long as you don't let big losses come in and wipe all that stuff out, then you've won. It's really that simple. You manage your losses the right way, and of course, there's going to be losing streaks. There's going to be tough weeks, tough months, tough years. It's going to happen. But as long as you can stick to your plan and kind of maybe adapt and change things a little bit and find what's working and what's not, you'll be successful. But it all comes down to being able to manage your risk. I mean, as cliche as it sounds, it's the number one rule in trading. I've seen people get thrown out of the office because this new guy comes in, he thinks, oh, well, no, I'm going to be a trader, whatever. I've seen my 65-year-old boss get up, walk over there, rip his keyboard out of the wall and say, you're done. Get out of the office. If you're 1 minute late to the office, you're not allowed to trade that day. Think about that. If you get caught in traffic, you're late. Sorry, go home. And that rule was from him trading at SAC Capital, one of the biggest hedge funds back in, I believe, the 80s. And he was number 2 in charge of it. So if you're 1 minute late, you're not trading. It's freaking unbelievable. It's cool. I mean, but again, it's everything. Sorry. Everything inside trading and everything outside of trading has to be disciplined. Some guy came in late. Sorry, boss. I was stuck in traffic. There was construction. There was a wreck. You should have checked Google Maps. Get out of the office. I'm sorry. Go home. As rigid as it is, it makes sense. If you're not disciplined outside of the market, you're not going to be disciplined inside the market. If you stay up late or you drink a lot during the weeks and you're hungover coming to trading or whatever, you're setting yourself up for failure. Think of yourself as an NBA, player or any sort of professional athlete, but you're trading the markets, because this is somewhat like Hunger Games, right? Every man's for himself. I can only do so much. I can only tell you what I'm doing. All the other analysts in here can only tell you so much. You're the guy who has to be right, has to click the button, has to be disciplined, has to stop out when they say stop out, has to take, profits when they tell you. If you can't do that, you won't be successful. I know this is kind of going off topic of options, but I think this is good. I'm glad you guys are here and you guys are active. So keep the questions coming. I love it. May the odds ever be in your favor. Yes, ma'am. It's an amazing job if you can make it work, but I promise you it's a grind, but it is worth every second and every hardship you've ever gone through. And I know, I know it's coming from me, who's, a 20-year-old kid in college, but I've made every mistake probably 10 times more than all of you have already. And I've learned from it. And I don't have to, I'm to the point now where I don't have to work a job outside of this. I don't have to do anything outside of trading. Before I was here, trading was my job. But I love to teach it. I teach in-person classes here at my university. I teach a class every night. 100%, Maestro. Yeah. Yeah. And look, anyone who's here, you've probably heard me already say it, but my DMs are always open. Maestro, I'll send you a friend request right now, so you have me. I'm always open for DMs if you guys need any help or advice or whatever. Yeah, and I mean, stick man, every trader struggles with it. No matter how experienced you are, it's a constant battle with yourself. But the simpler you can make things, and honestly, the more hard times you go through are going to make you more disciplined. The more mistakes you make, but the more that you correct those mistakes and actually correct them, you're going to be, you're going to get better and better. But that's back to what I said about journaling. It's so good to be able to look back and see how far you've come in a year. And that's what's going to keep you confident and keep you working towards your goal of being a profitable trader. Because I mean, the whole goal is to be able to understand this on your own and not need someone to hold your hand. But take all the advice you can, take all the mentorship you can, while you need it. And then once you're to the point where you can actually do this, it's great to have a community around you to actually bounce ideas off each other. Because back to the trading firm, every morning you have an hour meeting, an hour and a half before market open. Everyone meets in the office. They even let, me pitch some ideas sometimes, but it's good. Everyone and people have two completely different ideas on a stock, and then they kind of argue, and they they bounce their ideas off each other, and maybe both of them change their game plan. Maybe this guy saw this article, or this guy saw this statistic, or whatever. So it's very good to bounce ideas off each other. And me and all the other analysts do the same thing. Every week we have a meeting, we have a team meeting, and we all pitch our ideas on what we think the market's going to do this week, what our game plan is, what stocks we like, and it's priceless. Every trading group does the same thing. Maestro, yeah. I've let countless trades go by me that I haven't taken, actually executed, and it's okay. But like you said, it's good. It's good to think about, okay, well, my idea was right. Okay, it sucks I didn't actually execute the trade. I didn't pull the trigger. I didn't make the money. But your idea was there. As long as you had a full thesis of entry, exit, target, all that stuff, it's good. So, you'll learn from that stuff as well. And like I said, there's always tomorrow. There's always next week. There's always next year. The market's never going anywhere. So don't rush it. And like you said there too, Maestro, but I actually said that it's okay this time. That means you're getting, you're progressing, which is good. You're not mad at yourself. You're okay with letting that trade go by, and it's on to the next. And that goes along with having a huge winning trade. That goes on with having a big loss. You have to put it behind you. Your last trade has absolutely nothing to do with your next trade. So treat every trade the same. Don't think, okay, I just had this huge winner. I'm so good. I'm going to go even heavier on this one, because that's when the market will get you. We're done with finance. Trading. Yeah. Onward had some good advice there. It's tough. This is a hard game, but it's extremely, I don't know, what should I say? The fruit it bears is sweet. It definitely is. There's nothing like it. And I know I keep going back to the trading firm, but again, it's advice that I've heard from guys who have been doing this before computers were even trading, right? So some of the quotes he would say is like, trading is not about being right or wrong or cool or uncool. Trading is about making money. If sometimes, on the floor, everyone has to talk to each other. You have to tell the guy next to you, I'm getting in here, my stops here, my targets here. You have to do that so everyone can hold each other accountable. And I want you guys to do the same thing. If you're live trading with me, please type in the chat, okay, I'm in here. This is my fill price. And of course, I'm going to be talking through the trade, and that also helps me stay accountable, right? That keeps me on point. And I love to live trade because I can think out loud, and I'm also doing it in front of a lot of people. Of course, there's pressure on me to do good and try to pick the right trade, but that also makes me a lot more disciplined. So holding each other accountable is a big thing. And so, like what I was saying about people always having to talk on the trading floor, if things do get quiet, well, everyone's going to get in trouble in the meeting, because what he'll say is, I can't believe you guys won't talk to each other and won't try to find different ways to trade or different strategies or different solutions to your trading if you're struggling. Because I guarantee you, if you all talked, if you all bounced ideas off each other, if you all challenged each other and held each other accountable, y'all can make an extra $1,000 a day. That's $250,000 a year. You know what I mean? So when you break it down to those fractions, to those days, to those very simple tasks that you could do, it will really add up in the future. Yeah, definitely. Um, you can always watch people on YouTube. I mean, it's not a bad place to start or to continue doing. I mean, I remember the hours and hours and hours and hours I would spend watching people live trade. To me, I think my advice is if you're going to go on watch trading videos, definitely watch the basics, understand how this stuff works, and then I would be watching live trading videos only. So you see how it's going on second by second rather than someone talking to a camera telling you, "Oh, well I got in here because of blah 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 and I got out here and I made 10 grand." You're not going to learn that much. Watching them either talk through it or walk you through the trade live, that's going to be the most important stuff. I'll type two names here in the chat to go watch. Honestly, one more. All these people trade very similar to the way that I do. They do have live trading videos. Um, so if you guys listening, it's Matt Diamond. Second one is Vincent DeSanio. And the third one is Nord Trades. Um, they do have some live trading videos, which are good. And they're good basic stuff. Some of them, I did trade with Nord Trades for a while. And yeah, I learned some things, but he's not very good. He does have live trading videos, but you have to take everything with a grain of salt that you see on YouTube. Um, he won't talk through things second by second, and I'm not trying to brag myself, but it's what I do, and I think people do like it. Um, thought I seen Matt Damon. Yeah, Jason Bourne. But yeah, so there are live trade examples there, and that's mainly around the way that I trade. I could go, so in depth on the way that I do it, which maybe be for another night. But there's going to be countless other guys online that are going to trade differently. More for swing trade guys, they're not going to have live trades per se, but for short term day traders, that's what I would be watching. You need to see how it's done in action. You don't need to see what is going on after the fact. Well, I like this stock, so I bought it here and I made this much money. That's not going to teach you anything. Obviously, like I said, you need to know the basics. You need to understand why they're buying it or why they're not. And they usually explain those in the video. Matt Diamond does a pretty good job of that. He has pretty much the same charting style as I do. But these are all guys that I used to watch when I was first starting out, and they helped me learn how to do this. But for anyone here that hasn't joined my live tradings, I would definitely give it a shot. We've got some pretty good feedback on it. And, like I said, I give entries and exits live. I talk through every moment that I'm in a trade. I walk everyone through it, what I'm thinking, what I like, what I don't like. To me, that's where you're going to learn the most. And the reason I do that, one, like I said, it holds me accountable. It makes me trade well. But I also know how I would have liked to be taught. And listening to someone say, "I'm in," and then you hear nothing, and then, "Okay, I'm out," you're not going to learn anything because you don't know what you're doing, especially if you're new. You have no idea what's going on. You know maybe what to buy and, maybe the time to buy it, but you don't really understand what's going on or why this stuff is happening or even what you're seeing. So You do a nice job talking us through the trade. I try to listen. It works. Yeah, I mean that is, I hate that, and I think there's a lot of people in here that struggle with that. Um, everyone has to make money. Everyone has to work outside of this if it's not their job. And for me personally, if you don't have the first hour of the day to completely be focused, I can definitely see where that's hard. Um, and I wouldn't recommend trying to force my style of trading off your phone in the middle of work. Yeah, it can work. But sometimes my trades are fast, and the last thing you want to do is be late to the entry and late to the exit, because maybe everyone makes money and you're a tad bit behind and you end up losing. But that kind of comes down into my lesson on finding what kind of trader you are. If you do have obligations outside of trading and you cannot actively trade the morning, then maybe swing trading is more for you. Maybe long-term investing, rags to riches kind of style that we have here, is what you should be more focusing on. But that's another reason why I think that this community is just unmatched to anything that I've been in. And trust me, I've been in countless of discords. I've paid for multiple ones. There's nothing like what you guys have here, with the multiple analysts, the multiple lessons, um, the multiple ideas, the multiple strategies that are offered here. It's unparalleled to anything that I've seen. Yeah, and Honor, that's totally fine. But maybe in the future, you're actually, if you start understanding the stuff and you actually end up getting a break, um, from your work, or you maybe work different hours or whatever it may be. If you put the time in and understanding it, then boom, it's seamless. You come in and kind of my style, what you're looking for, and boom, 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 you're right there. I want to watch Rag Twitch with Pookie as it go on. Yeah, it's really, really good, Maestro. And for me, I need to be setting up my longer term portfolio. So I'm looking at that kind of stuff and learning a lot, because it's weird. The only thing that I know how to do is the short term trading, and it's been great, right? I do okay for being a kid, and but it's never too early to start a longer term portfolio. So it's really, really good information that I'm learning from. Yeah, I mean, everything takes time. You're never going to understand it. This is like learning a completely different language. You have to have not only the put the time in and have the experience over a longer period of time to really understand it, but you have to put a lot of work in. Yeah, for sure, Stickman. And I wish I had more experience with Webull. I just don't. It sounds like you need to switch brokers, though. Oh, good. That makes me happy. Well, go watch that. I think I did a Thinkorswim walkthrough. I want to do another one because I feel like I didn't do it as good as I wanted. But you can always reach out to me and ask me questions. Um, Let me make sure I have you friended as well. Well, good. Steak man, I know Thinkorswim better than I know some people in my life. So it's definitely a lot different. But when you learn it, I promise you, you've made the right decision. My brother still trades on Thinkorswim. I love it just because the charting to me is amazing. But to me, it's the perfect first stepping stone to get into the shorter term stuff. But I think you'll learn some stuff from the Thinkorswim walkthrough I did a while back. So that's good. I feel like another analyst did one as well on top of mine, but yeah, it's good stuff. I'm glad you switched. Sounds like Weeble's been having some problems. I feel like Weeble's more of like for guys who want to execute on their phone. and they want to just kind of swing or kind of, yeah, and that's okay. It's not bad to understand other brokerages. I mean, all the concepts are going to be the same. It's just understanding the user interface and finding all the tools that you need and how to use them and kind of the little tips and tricks. But like I said, I added you as a friend, so um, I'm always here if you need me. Good, I am too. I'm a nerd when it comes to technology. Yeah, Maestro. I mean, that's okay. Um, I really, I hate to say it, Robinhood is terrible. Depending on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to swing trade and hold stuff for multiple days or a month or whatever, okay, it's fine. If you're trying to day trade, I highly, highly, highly suggest that you don't do it. And the only reason I say that is, of course, Robinhood's user interface is very easy. It's very easy for someone who doesn't really have experience in the markets to buy and sell stock. But the reason I don't like them is one, the whole GameStop stuff, and that's a whole nother story. I don't trust them. But two, they advertise it as free, and it's not. They say it's free commissions, but it's not because they're filling you at worse prices. Let's say that the Tesla contracts are 225 on the ask and 210 on the bid, and you buy market, you're going to get filled at 230, 235. So you're going to get those terrible fills. So it even adds more risk on the line. So they advertise as free, which just makes me sick. But it's because that their fills are god awful. And that's where you're going to run into problems if you're trying to short-term day trade, especially with options. With stock either. I mean, you're going to get terrible fills on stock as well. So I've never once used Robinhood, but I know the good and bad that comes with it. And if you already noticed it, then that says all I need to hear. Yeah, Onrod. I mean, that's definitely good. Having that framework for a new trader is very good. When you execute, you have already a set stop and a set take profit, which is definitely nice. Um, Once you get more experience, you're probably not going to end up liking that because you'd rather just go off of your um, intuition. Just because there are times where maybe the price just quickly hits your stop and then goes in your direction. That's the only reason why I don't use that hard frame on my buying and selling. But for you being new, I don't think that it's a bad thing at all, because you'll probably end up finding, if you didn't have that, you'll end up finding yourself holding a trade that goes against you too long. You take too big of a loss that's way bigger than what you were looking to win. So in the beginning stages, I think that's definitely it's not a bad thing for sure. Once you can get to that point where you're extremely emotionally sound and think completely logical, and okay, if it does this, I'm stopping out. I don't care. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I don't care. Money doesn't matter. It's all about percentages and price action. Price is telling me to get out, and there's not even a thought. It's just I'm out. Then that's when you can switch to that no frame kind of stuff. Yeah, so Stickman, Thinkorswim does basically have every single option that you have on live trading. The only thing is, I think you need $500 in the live trading account to be able to get real time data on the paper trading side, because if you don't have 500, then you will be 20 minutes delayed on the chart. So that's the only downside of Thinkorswim, but you don't have to touch that 500. You simply put it in there, paper trade for as long as you want. If you don't like it, then you can just take it right out. So, but yeah, all the tools are the same for both sides, and they also have that on-demand. They have that on-demand option, so you can actually go back. Okay, if I wanted to trade May of 2022, May 5th, 2022, I can go back to that specific day and let the chart play out and see how I would have traded. So it's kind of cool to go back. I mean, I may do that live for you guys one time. That would be kind of fun. Let you guys pick a random day. Let me set all the charts to that specific time. And then, okay, I'm going to look at everything. I'm going to chart, see what I like, see what I don't like, and then trade it. Good night, Onrod. Thanks for showing up, man. If I use a chart on, yeah, that may work, and I don't know how that delayed data ties into the prices. You may want to look that up. I believe it's only the charts, but I think that maybe the option buying and selling, or even equity buying and selling, may also be delayed. But I don't know. I mean, it's $500, so I know it may suck to put to the side and not be able to really touch, but you may even be able to put it in there, put your 500 in, call Thinkorswim, say, hey, give me real time. They give it to you, then take it right back out. And I don't think that they'll just switch it back to, because all it is they just turn it on for you and then whatever. They don't care. In fact, I don't have any money in my Thinkorswim anymore, and I still have real time on paper trading. So I actually think that that's probably going to be your little cheat there. So you may want to do that. But yeah. So we're about to hit that hour mark, guys. So I think it was good. I know I didn't go into options like super in depth, but I gave you guys kind of the basics on it. But I was very happy with the conversation tonight. I think it was very good. Talked a lot about discipline and psychology and all that stuff. So I'm glad you guys were here. But I'll still hang out for a few minutes if you have any last questions. If not, enjoy the night. Let's get some good sleep, and let's finish the week strong tomorrow. Yeah, Maestro, anytime. And like I said, I added you as a friend. I saw you added me back. So feel free to reach out. That goes for any of you guys. Yeah, good. Stickman, that's a good mindset though, man. That's a good mindset. Last thing you want to do is burn your money. Learn and come in when you're ready. Cool, guys. All right. Well, thanks for showing up, everyone. I enjoyed tonight, but we will see y'all in the morning. I'll be in the chats. I'll be active. You can at me whenever, because I get those notifications. So just to at Ethan, and I'll get right to you. So y'all have a good night.